everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to take a look at Audible. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I do enjoy listening to audiobooks and I have an Audible subscription. So I'm just going to give my feelings about Audible. So Audible is part of Amazon, obviously. And this is the part of their company that does audiobooks. So these are all lots of books that you can listen to. So these are like books and things you can listen to on Audible. So specifically, I'm going to focus a little bit on the Audible Plus catalog. And these are the books that if you have a subscription to Audible, you can listen to as many as you want. And you know that they're part of the catalog because when you look through the Audible screen, it'll say that it's included, or it'll just say play or download, and there won't be a price attached to it. So first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost. So if you just want the Audible catalog, it's $7.95 a month. And then they have the other options, which give you options to have what they call credits, which can be used for any of the audiobooks in their selection. So obviously you can either just get the Plus catalog, that's the cheapest option, or you can get the one where you get a credit a month. And I have the one where I get credits every month so that I can listen to whatever books that I want. So if you look at the Audible Plus catalog, there are hundreds of books on there. And there's the books are from every genre that you could imagine. And I mean, obviously some of them are really long, some of them are short. And they're for all audiences as well. They have children's books, they have YA books, they have books for adults. They, everything that you can imagine they have. And I'm not saying that that's overall means that you're always getting good quality, but they do have all sorts of things on there. They also have podcasts on there. If you're somebody who likes podcasts, you can get a bunch of podcasts on there. And the nice thing about it is they're always putting new books and series and things on the Plus catalog. So maybe there's something that you're interested in and you're like, well, I don't know if I'm interested enough to buy it. Check the Audible Plus catalog. It might be on there. I've actually found several books that I was kind of like, I didn't want to buy it, but then I found it on the Plus catalog and I thought, well, I can listen to it. If I like it, then I can look at other options. And a lot of times I find things on there that I never even knew existed. And I think it's just fun to find something new and listen to it. And then I get to explore something new or a genre or a type of book that I wouldn't normally pick up, and there it is, and I can just listen to it and see if it's something I like or not. Obviously, I know that there's downsides to everything, and I think one of them is that sometimes you get self-published books and different things on the Plus catalog, and they might not be written the best. They might have a lot of grammatical errors or different things like that. But, I guess on the Plus side, you didn't have to pay extra for that. You didn't pay the $20, $30 or a full credit for a book that maybe wasn't done so well. And I don't know how it affects the artists or the people who wrote the books and how much of a percentage they get from people's subscriptions and things like that. I suppose that would be something to further research. So I thought I would just go over a few of the books that I have found on the Audible Plus catalog that I have enjoyed and kind of a little bit about them. So I found just recently, and this was within the last few months, they put on the Cradle series by Will Wright. This starts with Unsold, and there are several books in this series. I believe there's 7 or 8 of them on the Plus catalog. I read the first one on my Kindle, and haven't got around to the other ones, but I'm letting my kids listen to the first one right now and see if maybe it's something we want to listen to together. If not, I will continue it on my own. It follows a group of people who, everybody in their clan or in their village or on their planet has a magical ability, or supposedly everyone does. And when you are tested when you're very young to determine what kind of ability that you have. And this follows a boy that goes to get tested and he has no ability, so he becomes what they call an unsold, which means he basically doesn't have a purpose. He's considered the weakest person of the clan. And even though, the clan takes care of him, he basically has no rights in the clan. and everyone's ashamed of him. His parents are ashamed of him. He'll never amount to anything. And so we follow him as he decides, after talking to kind of the spirit guides of the tribe, which are animals. There's these 3 foxes. He goes to talk to them, and they tell him that if you're not given a path, you have to choose your own. And so that's what he decides to do. And like I said, I've only read the first book, but I will be continuing that series. So the next series that I found on there and I just started was called Runelords. The first book is The Sum of All Men, and I listened to the first one, really enjoyed it. I'm working on the second one right now. There are 8 books currently on the Plus catalog. There's a 9th one coming out, but I don't know when it's coming out, and I don't know if it will be part of the Plus catalog. This series is by David Farland, and this is a fantasy series, and I can tell it's kind of like an older fantasy story. It's very much like good versus evil, and everything we loved about those old fantasy series. And this one has I really enjoy like the magic system in it. So they do have wizards, and they do have like animals that have magical abilities and different things like that. But they have what they call Runelords, and Runelords take attributes from other people in order to make themselves better. So they will take like strength from someone. So they'll become stronger. The person they take the strength from, they don't take strength. That person gives them their strength. So the person who gave them their strength becomes weaker so that the person comes stronger. And they find different ways of either manipulating people or paying people for their different attributes. You better looking to make it so people listen to you better, so that you run faster, and all these different things. But there's always a cost, because somebody has to give up that attribute for the Runelord to become stronger. Another series that I found on the Plus catalog was the Wizard for Hire series by Obert Skye. And this found the first 2 books, and I had to purchase the last one. But it might be available now. Because new books are added all the time, so it's entirely possible that the 3rd book is now available to listen to. We follow a boy named Ozzy who has grown up in the woods alone in this house. His parents were kidnapped when he was really young, and he doesn't know what happened to them, so he kind of took care of himself. And then at some point, he decided he needed to leave the house and see if he could find his parents. So he goes out, finds this wizard in a phone book, calls him up, asks him to help him find his parents. So this series I really enjoyed. I listened to it with my kids, and we thought it was great. And this is I believe a middle grade series. A couple of standalones I found the first one was The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek. This is by Kim Michelle Richardson, and this was about the Kentucky Blue people and the Pack Horse Library that existed like in and around like the Blue Ridge Mountains and stuff like that. And these women who would get on pack horses and bring magazines and would make their own compilations of stories and different things to take to all these poor people so that they would have books. The book overall was it was okay, but what I really liked was learning something about history that I didn't know about, and learning about these Kentucky Blue people that I didn't know were real. And you can Google them. I think they're mostly gone now, but they were blue. They were actually blue people. Now they can say that, hey, it was this just genetic problem, they were deficient in this certain mineral or whatever, and that's why they were blue. Another standalone that I found was called A Monster Like Me, and this was by Wendy Sore. And this was about a girl who had blood tumor on her cheek, and because of that she thought she was a monster, and she had this book called The Big Book of Monsters, and she would go around saying who was a monster and who was a fairy, and ended up getting herself in a little bit of trouble at school and different things. But I thought it did a really good job of talking about children and how they perceive things and how they see themselves in comparison to the world. So another series that I found on there, and there's one book on there, and I believe it's what they call an Audible original, which they're kind of books, they're kind of short stories, that kind of stuff. And there's a bunch of them on there, and they've been on there from the beginning of Audible before they had the Plus catalog. But now all of those you can listen to for free. So there's 2 of them that I'm going to tell you a little bit about. The first one is the Mystwick School of Musiccraft, and this is by Jessica Corey. And this is about a magical school that is based on music. And one of the cool things about the Audible book was that they had a orchestra, and I think it was like a junior high orchestra or high school orchestra who played the music for the story. So they would talk about music and then they would play the song. So I thought that was really cool. And there's one book on there, there's a novella on there, and it looks like there's a new book coming out, but it doesn't have a release date or anything like that. And I don't know if it will be free on Audible or not. And then the second one that I have enjoyed was called The Dispatcher. This was by John Scalzi, and this is a story about a future in which that one day everybody woke up and suddenly if you were murdered, you would come back to life. You would disappear, you would wake up in your bed naked and kind of disoriented, but you could not kill anybody anymore. And so now they have these people called dispatchers who go around murdering somebody if they're in a really tough situation so that they will come back to life. And some of it's on the up and up and some of it's not. The most common thing is if somebody goes in for surgery and it's a risky surgery, they'll have a dispatcher there. And if it looks like the surgery's not going well, the dispatcher will dispatch them, and then they'll wake up in their bed and they'll be fine, and then they can go through the surgery again and try to do better this next time. So there's two short stories available in the Dispatcher series, and I liked both of them. They were kind of fun to listen to, and fun to hypothesize over and be like, oh well, what if this happened? So it's been a conversation that I get to continue with my kids. So in this world, if this happened, do you think they'd come back to life? So there's my review of the Audible Plus catalog, and I really enjoyed it. I think that it's a great way to find new books, to find new genres, to listen to something you haven't thought of before, and hopefully if you decide to try the Audible catalog, you can find something good to listen to. If you have, please let me know what it is, and maybe I'll listen to it too and see if I like it. Alright, so if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I post new videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Have a nice day.